Welcome, 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 good people. We're going to give it just a second for folks to get in here, get comfortable. I am so excited that you all have joined us so that we can celebrate the incredible history that we made together over Labor Day weekend. Y'all know how we do. Get in here, get comfortable, tell a friend that you're here. Before we get too much further and I use any more words, I want to toss it to our incredible translation and interpretation team. Shout out to Flavia and all the other folks who made language justice possible on this call. So Flavia, I'm going to turn it to you.
Thank you so much. So this is the interpretation instructions. I will give them in Spanish. Si quieren escuchar esta llamada en español para honrar la justicia lingüística de todas nuestras comunidades, por favor, escojan el icono de globo terráqueo ubicado abajo que dice interpretación. Y si están conectándose desde un teléfono móvil, busquen 3 puntos que dicen more, more o más. Opriman ahí y luego toquen Language Interpretation o interpretación de idiomas y luego opriman español y toquen Done, hecho finalizado arriba a la derecha. Si tienen problemas, déjanos saber por el chat. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ashley.
Y'all show some love for our incredible interpretation team who is making it possible for all of us to be here, hearing and understanding what these incredible leaders, movement leaders, practitioners, incredible trusted friends and colleagues of ours have to share with us tonight. So again, thank you, interpretation crew, for being here tonight. Y'all, I want to start by saying we made history together, and we're here to celebrate what we accomplished this Labor Day, and I'm going to brag about that. But before I do, I just have to be honest that I know that, as per usual, we're all arriving in the middle of some of the most tumultuous and turbulent times that we've ever experienced in our lifetime, right? These billionaire bosses, these oligarchs, these aristocrats, these wannabe kings are trying to destroy the working class, right? They're trying to consolidate their wealth and power at our expense. We know it because we've seen the deployment of the National Guard in people's neighborhoods. We've seen ICE and Homeland Security showing up in people's workplaces and raids, including some of our colleagues in Savannah, Georgia. We're sending love and solidarity to the folks that are fighting the raid that just happened today in Savannah, Georgia at the Hyundai plant there. So we know that terrible things are happening to our communities. You might be here because you're pissed off about it. You're sad, you're frustrated, you're scared, you're overwhelmed, you're skeptical, and you might be here because you're looking for a little injection of hope and inspiration. And my prayer is that is what this call provides for you today. So to speak a little bit about it, let's talk about what we did. This Labor Day weekend, we had more than 1,000 events, more than 500,000 people in the streets. We're building the working class movement that we need and deserve in this moment to stop the billionaire takeover of this country. And tonight, we're going to hear from leaders across the country who stood up this Labor Day and demanded better. We're going to hear from Bargaining for the Common Good about how we all can actually show up and take on the billionaires. And we're going to hear from Mayday Strong about the strike and action schools coming to a community near you. I'm psyched about it. To kick us off, though, we're going to hear from Bryn Siebert of SEIU HCII coming to us live from Chicago, not just about how powerful and historic Labor Day was in Chicago, the event that they held there, but about what they're currently experiencing in that city on the eve of the occupation and how they're meeting this moment. Bryn, we're so grateful that you took time out of your busy schedule to be here. I'll toss it to you.
Yeah, thanks, Ash. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you tonight. So my name's Bryn. I'm a vice president with SEIU Healthcare Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, and Kansas. We represent over 91,000 workers across 4 states. And, you know, like a lot of unions, we have been facing attacks directly from the Trump administration since Trump took office earlier this year. Veterans Administration hospital workers have lost their collective bargaining rights and their contract protections. Medicaid-funded home care workers are facing cutbacks and also threats to overtime, threats to minimum wage protection, and more. Medicaid cuts are threatening to roll back, progress that we've made on safe staffing in nursing homes. They're threatening to shutter safety net hospitals in cities and rural areas across our states and all over the country. And in the face of all these attacks, our union is fighting for a care economy. What that means is we're fighting for childcare for all and good jobs for the people that work in childcare and early education. We're fighting for home care for all, and we're fighting for healthcare justice. And a common thread in all of these fights is that we need to tax the rich. We need revenue to fund our vision for care for all and good jobs. And we know the way to get there is to make, millionaires and billionaires pay their fair share. And at the same time, we also need to expose the role that billionaires and corporations are playing in upholding the Trump regime's authoritarian rule. So, we are all excited and proud to have been out in the streets together on Labor Day on Monday. In Chicago, thousands of working people marched through downtown on Labor Day, starting at the historic Haymarket Memorial in downtown Chicago. We marched to the Chicago headquarters of Valor Equity Partners. Their CEO, Antonio Gracias, is a close friend of Elon Musk. Up until recently, he was a Doge guy who was responsible for, making cuts to federal programs. So we marched from Valor Equity to a Target store to really lift up and highlight the Black-led consumer boycott against Target for caving to the Trump regime's attacks on DEI. All in all, it was an incredible show of power and solidarity with unions, clergy, immigrant rights groups, community organizations, all taking action together on Labor Day. So, I've been organizing childcare workers for more than 24 years, and I am sure I've heard a million times by now from, elected officials, from the people who make, our budgets, that there's never money to raise pay for childcare workers. And that there's still not money to raise pay for childcare workers when so many classrooms and childcare centers around the city of Chicago and around the state are empty, not because there aren't kids to fill those classrooms, but because they can't find a teacher. They can't keep a teacher. And the truth is that we could fund childcare for every single family in our state, for every single family in our country. But what we don't have is the will to tax billionaires. It's also, I take really seriously the responsibility of organized labor to organize and resist against authoritarianism, against fascism that we're seeing right now. With all the excitement and all the power of Labor Day still fresh in our minds here in Chicago, we are preparing for the arrival of hundreds of federal ICE agents, of possibly the U.S. National Guard, coming to militarize our city against the will of the people, against the will of our mayor and our governor. We are in this moment looking to Washington, D.C. and to Los Angeles, where community has been uniting in solidarity and fighting together to protect your people. And we know that here in Chicago, we have to do the same, right? We have to fight to protect our people. We have to fight to protect our community. And the way to do that is for us to build strong coalitions across the city that unite labor, community, immigrant rights groups, faith leaders, that it's by standing together in solidarity, taking action together, that we're going to keep our people safe. So as we go forward into whatever is to come here in Chicago and across the country, we know that we have to stay focused on billionaires. We have to keep lifting up the harm that they're doing. We have to keep demanding that the rich pay their fair share to fund childcare for all, to fund home care for all. We need to stand up and loudly say that we need money for care, not for ICE raids, not for militarization of our cities. So we are committed in our union, SEIU, to continue to stand up for immigrant rights. We're going to continue to host Know Your Rights trainings and workshops We're going to continue to build solidarity between members across race, across geography, and we're going to have to keep building together and acting in solidarity, because it's when we unite labor and when we unite community and we take action together that we can keep our people safe. Thanks.
Y'all show some love in the reactions to Bren. Thank you and the SEIU fan for being here with us tonight. Y'all, I'm so excited that you're here. We're so close to having 1,000 people on this call. I want you to make sure that you pull out your phone, you go into your group chats, you go on socials, you tell everybody that you're here, and you tell them to come and get on the line with us. We want to make sure that this good word and all of the calls to action that are going to come from this call actually reach as many people as possible. So do that. Some of the homies in the Q&A are using the Q&A to make comments. But what they told me is that I didn't introduce myself. So let me do that before I bring up our next incredible movement leader. My name is Ashley Woodard Henderson. I'm your friendly neighborhood rabble rouser and MC of our call today. So I'm excited that you're here. The next speaker that you're going to hear from is the powerful Yvonne Saldana of Unite Here Local 23 in Houston, Texas, who kicked off a massive strike this Labor Day in the South. A strike that is still going strong at one of Houston's biggest hotels. Yvonne, take us away.
Hi. Oh my God, give me 1 second for the camera. I'm not sure if it's showing up right now. Can you see me? Okay, now you can see me. Hi everyone. My name is Yvonne. I work at the Starbucks department at Hilton Americas. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what we were looking to change, because I feel like we do love our work environment. I love what I do personally as a barista. I get to interact with so many people from so many different places, and I've always loved that about this job. But one of the things I will say is we need a livable wage. And I feel like it's not hard to ask for the bare minimum. It's hard for them to accept the fact that we need the bare minimum. Like, I honestly can't stress that enough to my coworkers. I always tell them, look, we're fighting for like a basic human need. We need to be able to pay our groceries. We need to be able to not struggle. We need to be able to not stress. And yes, I'll rotate it right now. I'm so sorry. Okay, give me 1 second. We need to be able to not have to constantly have to worry about these basic human needs. And I feel like that's one of the things I will say. Like, I always notice that people around me are always struggling, and it's sad that that is the case constantly. Oh, okay. So would I move it forward? Okay. It's on the side. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. So do you need it vertically or okay?
Yeah, I think you need to be vertical, friend.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, then I'll just hold it. So basically what I was stressing is that there's so many people around me that I constantly see struggling, so many coworkers that I care about, and I see them struggle, and it's hard to see them struggle on a daily basis. I feel like we need to ask this of the company to just give us the bare minimum, and it shouldn't be that hard for them to provide that for us, because they make so much money as a corporation. So why shouldn't we have the liberty of just living our lives, being a little bit more, able to have, I guess, that safety blanket underneath us, knowing that we're going to be able to cater to ourselves, cater to our families' needs. I know that the laundry department is struggling a lot because, the Hilton isn't meeting OSHA standards. People are fainting in the laundry department. That's something that's super, like, that's a huge deal. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that we're also just fighting for basic respect. I feel like there are so many things that are tied to just, treating people kindly, treating people with respect, knowing how to go about certain situations. I feel like management needs to step up, and I feel like they need to take a moment to understand that we, as baristas, as housekeepers, as every single department, matters so much. As line cooks, we do so much to help this hotel, and we love our jobs, but we also need to be treated with that same respect.
Yvonne, thank you so much for your leadership. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
courage. Your courage is contagious. You're getting a lot of love in the reactions. I hope you can see.
Yeah, I see them. Thank you.
Very grateful you were here. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. You're hearing from leaders on the front lines that are making the working class movement that was our May Day Strong and continued through our Labor Day actions more possible. So keep showing them love. And again, we're grateful. For those of you that are just joining, thank you for being here. Make sure you've told all your friends to come and join us tonight so that we can make sure that you get this good information. I wish that we could hear from every single one of the incredible leaders who plan these Labor Day events all over the country. For folks that came late, you might have missed that we had more than 1,000 across the country. So if we heard from every single one of them, doing that for 1,000 events might take quite some time, more time than we have together tonight. So to learn more about all of this incredible work that happened and stay in touch so that you can find out what our movement's going to do next, I need you to take your phone out and I want you to go to the text message app, like where you send text messages. And I want you to text the word solidarity to 58910. Again, I want you to get your phone ready. I want you to get it out. And I want you to text the word solidarity, SOLIDARITY, to the number 58910. One more time for posterity's sake. If you want to learn more about the work that we have done and stay in touch with our movement, I need you to take 1 second, go to the text messaging app on your phone, and text the word solidarity, SOLIDARITY, to the number 58910. Now, once you've done that, once you've texted that word solidarity to 58910, we're going to pull up a quick poll to see who's joining us tonight. I want you to take a moment to fill out the survey. Let us know who you are and what brings you here to the call tonight. You can see it just popped up on your screen if you're on your laptop. Hopefully it does that if you're on your phone as well. Tell us about you. Tell us if you're a union member or if you want to be a part of a union. Tell us if you're an activist with a local group or you want to become an activist with a local group. I've already seen some folks looking to reach out and build community with people in their locations in the Q&A. So make sure to click that if you're looking for your people. And then click if you're active in your faith community. Tell us a little bit about who you are. We're going to take a moment to do that. So while folks are filling out the poll, again, I want to remind you that if you haven't yet, I want you to text the word solidarity to 58910 so it can be our bat signal to keep in touch with you when we're ready to mobilize again, so that we can increase our numbers and so we can make sure that you are fully absorbed into this incredible agitational movement for worker power. Take a moment, text 58910, the word solidarity, and then switch over to the poll and tell us a little bit about you. Are you a union member? Do you want to be a part of a union, but you're not yet a member? Are you a member of a local group? Are you an activist? Do you want to become an activist with a local group? And are you active in your faith community? Take a moment to tell us who you are. And for my friends who are here with us on Zoom, the chat is open. You can tell me your name, where you're calling in from. If you want to rep your org, you can do that. Now we're so, again, glad and excited that you have not regarded it robbery to be here with us tonight. We know you're coming from all over the country. We see you from California to New Jersey, Virginia in the building, Michigan, I see you. I know some folks gotta be from the great state of Tennessee. Shout out to the volunteers that have made their way to this call. I see the great and courageous state of Alabama, Florida, Massachusetts, we see you. Texas, we know, is in the building. Oregon, shout out to the Pacific Northwest that is here with us. I think I saw Hawaii in the chat. What's good, y'all? We see you. Cities and towns, hollers and hoods from every stretch of this country are here in solidarity tonight saying, yo, we believe in a world where workers actually can take the actions necessary to be organized in their workplaces. And that when bosses prioritize profit, the extraction of profit over the people who make that profit possible, those folks should be protected, defended, and able to resist and organize, right? So, y'all, I'm excited that you're here. I think if you want to build worker power, if you're here because you believe in workers over billionaires, you are in the right place. And I want to make sure that we stay together and can build on top of this incredible movement that we have been, like, one, the labor movement that we've inherited, that is our great legacy, right? The shoulders that we stand on as folks that support workers, but also the incredible life-saving and historic work that we're doing right now, the radical and militant interventions that you all made possible over Labor Day weekend. So thank you for introducing yourselves to us. Thank you for being here with us tonight. Y'all, we are building a powerful movement of working class people to take on the billionaires. And next, to hear from yet another incredibly powerful leader from Boston, Massachusetts, Darlene. I want you to come on in the room. She's the president of the Greater Boston Labor Council. Darlene, I'll toss it to you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. And I just want to thank President Schuler and the National AFL-CIO for asking me to speak about our Labor Day in Boston. You know, she put out the call to our state federations and CLCs all across the country. And we answered the call, but so many other groups did, so many federations and CLCs. I mean, the one in Pittsburgh was 45,000 people. So I'm humbly with my little, maybe about 10,000 came out for us. But we're really excited to share a little bit about Boston. And I just got to say how humbling it is. Even New York is happening this weekend, I think, and they're expecting over 100,000. So we did our first Labor Day parade. We got everybody out of this traditional breakfast. You know, President Schuler was like, no, business as usual in this political moment. We have to show that we are lockstep in many of the community partners that have been doing mobilizations like 5051, Indivisible, Hands Off, Good Trouble. So we invited all of those partners, those community partners, to join with us and organize our first Labor Day parade. And it was crazy. It was so much fun. We had brass bands from our musicians union. We had a dance group, a Dominican dance group that had baton twirlers and young people dancing 5 years old to 10 years old. And of course, we had rank and file workers out of the ballroom of usually a union hotel, which is usually about 750 people. We had almost 10,000 people come out and join us in the streets. And that is because we built a coalition, a planning committee of community groups and our unions to really show how important it is to be out in the streets and to show our worker power this Labor Day. So I just want to, I just want to just share a little bit because it was our whole goal was to be both militant and festive. So we ended up marching and having these historic sites being lifted up and also some corporate targets highlighted. We first went to the first public school in the U.S. and our educators, AFT, MTA, and Boston Teachers Union really held down this site to show the importance of public education and what unions have won for working class people. Then we went down to BlackRock offices. They hold about $10 trillion of managed assets in anti-union companies and also detention centers. They're terrible, terrible, terrible. One of those tech billionaires. And then we went down to Faneuil Hall to really highlight the historical Boston Building Trades first meeting that they ever came together in 1834, and then highlighted a 1954 colonial meatpacker strike where UFCW actually organized the Black workers brought in to break the strike and instead organized them into the union and built that multiracial local union and won that strike. And then we marched over to 100 Sudbury where SEIU 32BJ has been locked in a fight with our janitors and owner that turned it into luxury homes. And then we went into the federal building, and obviously our federal workers talked about how important it is to really fight this illegal layoffs and also the taking away of our collective bargaining rights as federal workers. So it was a lot of fun. It was great to organize, and it's very clear with this call to action from the National AFL-CIO partnering with Mayday Coalition that we are obviously going to be in the streets next year, but also throughout the year. So I'm really humbled and honored to be able to share what we did on Labor Day. And we couldn't have done it with all the support of our unions and our community partners and this united front that we've built here in Boston.
Yes, shout out to being bigger than the sum of our parts by actually being an invitation to all of the movement leaders in our communities and asking them like, hey, come out, show your support for workers. But also shout out to the folks in labor who are going and supporting the things that community groups are doing. I know I see y'all in the chat. We Are Worth Fighting For is in the chat. I see Indivisible in the chat. I know some of the No Kings fam is in the chat. I see some of the Movement for Black Lives folks in the chat. I see so many folks that are doing incredible grassroots work all across this country that are coming together across our sectors to be the big front that actually stops this right-wing authoritarian nightmare. So shout out to you all. Shout out to our colleagues in Boston for being so incredible. And thank you for being here on the call with us tonight. Y'all, I am honored to bring up from Albuquerque, where thousands turned out in one of their biggest protests ever, Andrea Serrano, who is the executive director of Ole. Andrea, thank you for being here. I know it's so busy. Thank you for coming. We'll give it to you.
Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be on this call and among so many folks who are doing things, big things across the country. Again, Andrea Serrano, I'm the executive director of Ole here in Albuquerque. And what was so meaningful about this action, first of all, seeing community groups and labor come together to march together to do something that we had never done on Labor Day before, which was come together, march, and demand workers over billionaires. And Albuquerque's nickname is Burke over billionaires. And so to put that spin on it and to see us together marching, it meant so much. Ole is a multi-issue organization. We've organized workers for the last 16 years. And so to be there with groups like Open, New Mexico Working Families Party, the UA 412 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, Albuquerque Teachers Federation, and to have so many other community groups, including the United Grad Workers of the University of New Mexico, and to see us with a very, very common goal, and that is to really hold local government accountable for the practices. We know that on the federal level, we know what's going on the federal level, but also on the local level, one of our targets was to stop in front of the Clyde Hotel in downtown Albuquerque, owned by a developer named Jim Long, who just received a $227 million tax sweetheart deal to build luxury apartments and luxury hotels, no affordable housing. And we're in a housing crisis in Albuquerque, just like across the country. And we can't even get the most basic renter protections passed by our city council and mayor, and yet this developer got a sweetheart deal. And so this idea that we are part of a larger movement, it makes us feel, one, it makes us feel like we're not alone, and two, it gives us the will to fight. And it was one of the largest actions with about 6,000 people on the street in Albuquerque. Albuquerque, for those who don't know, is a small city. It's a mid-sized city. And New Mexico has a population of 2 million. So to have 6,000 people on the street in our city marching together, I still can't get over it. I've been on this sort of like floating on this high all week about it. But then we think about what's next, right? We think about what's next, and we think about the ways in which we have to keep pushing our lawmakers, and the way we have to keep pushing on local lawmakers. Local economy is just as effective as pushing on the federal. And so, really thinking about what is the next action we're going to do, and how are we going to march together with labor during our legislative session, which is in January, and what are the demands we're going to make for workers on behalf of workers. So I'm thrilled. I'm excited. I'm calling in from my car because this, I was racing home so that I could join this call. And I'm so proud that Albuquerque is part of this big movement that's happening across the country. Workers over billionaires, Burke over billionaires, and we just keep moving forward.
Darlene, you are doing the good Lord's work. We are grateful that you are doing it. We are grateful for your courage. We are grateful for your leadership. And we are grateful that Albuquerque is on the map of the 1,000 actions that we made happen this Labor Day. So thank you, Darlene, for being here. Next up, to talk to us more about how we can take those billionaires and preview a bigger training coming up, how we can beat back this billionaire attack on workers and actually plug in to taking some initiative to learn some things about how we can up our ante in relationship to building worker power. I get to kick it to my friend and brother Sakib Bhakti with Action Center for Race and the Economy and Bargaining for the Common Good. Sakib, take it away.
Thanks, Ash. It's great to be here with y'all. Really exciting to see so many folks. So yeah, I'm going to talk about how we can find out more about the billionaires driving fascism in the US. My organization, ACRE, will be hosting a training on October 22nd that you can register for at bit.ly/billionaire power grab. We'll share that link on the screen a little bit later. Um, so, we all know about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, but they're just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the billionaires that are really, driving fascism. There's nearly 1,000 billionaires in the country with a whopping $6 trillion in combined wealth. And as a result of the big bad bill, they will get billions in tax breaks while our communities lose their health care, their jobs, and ultimately their livelihoods. So we need to demand that these billionaires pay what they owe, and we need to organize to build the people power necessary to overcome their money. So believe it or not, there's billionaires all over the country. So how do you find your local billionaire? I want to share this website that has profiles of every billionaire in the country, classsolidarity.org. So if you go to this website and you click on the Find a Billionaire link, which next slide, please. It'll take you to this People's Audit page. If you scroll down, next slide, you get to this list of billionaires. And then next slide, there's this drop-down menu where if you click on state, you can filter by states, you can find the billionaires in your state. And pro tip, 48 states have billionaires. The only two that don't are Alaska and Delaware. So there are billionaires all over the country. So if you go to the next slide, you can also click on industry and filter by industry. So this right here shows us some of the biggest billionaires in the finance and the finance industry, including Jeff Yass, the richest man in Pennsylvania, who is so far this year, he's the biggest donor to Trump super PAC. And so then you'll see some of these names are highlighted in blue while others are black. The ones that are in blue, we've built out deeper profiles on. So if you click on Peter Thiel right here, so next slide, please. You can see, a bigger thing on him. So Peter Thiel, quick reminder, he's the founder of Palantir. ICE uses Palantir data to help with immigration raids. Palantir's AI powers Israeli drones that are carrying out the genocide in Gaza. Among other things, many, many other things. And Peter Thiel is really like a big figure in sort of driving the authoritarianism in our communities and really sort of driving the big brother, like the expansive surveillance state that's really taking root. And then if you go back to the main audit, next slide, please. You can then click on this thing up top that says Chief ICE Officers. So that takes you to this other website that has this other page that has links of more folks. Alex Karp is the CEO of Palantir. Antonio Gracias, Brain spoke about earlier. He's was until recently the head of the DOGE Immigration Task Force with Valor Equity Partners in Chicago. And there's a few more listed here as you scroll down. So we need to take on all of these billionaires directly. They think they can impose their will on us, but we're not going to back down. We're going to take the fight directly to their doorsteps. So next slide, please. So we want to do a thing together. So please go to classsolidarity.org, find a billionaire in your state, and then drop it into the chat. If there's more than one, just pick one. And while you do that, just there's 900 and some, there's almost 1,000 billionaires across the country. I saw the question in the chat. So as I mentioned earlier, my organization ACRE will be holding a webinar the evening of October 22nd called the Billionaire Power Grab that will go into more detail on key billionaire culprits, who they are, how to find them, how to take them on, and how to connect them to your local fights. To join the webinar, you can register at bit.ly/billionairepowergrab. Thanks. Back to you, Ash.
Saka, we appreciate you, and this tool is incredible. So again, if the chat is moving too fast and you missed it, just to give it to you one more time, it is classsolidarity.org. Class Solidarity, all one word, .org. That's how you get to the tool. Can we put the slide up with the links just for one more second, just to make sure everybody gets it? And shout out to Martha Grant, who is dropping these links in the chat for us like a champion. Remember that if you have registered for this call, you'll get the recording and you'll get the links. We know the chat is moving fast with a lot of people on the call. We'll make sure that you've got it. Be sure to spread these links around, share the wealth of these tools and this incredible opportunity to participate in the work that Acre is doing. Thank you, Saka, for sharing it with us. I also want to remind you that if you haven't yet, texted Solidarity to 58910. Well, now's a perfect time to do that. If you just joined us, we're trying to make sure that you all can not only get access to the incredible stories of the work that we've already done, but that you can stay in touch with us about the work that we continue to do to build worker power over billionaires. So again, if you haven't yet, I want you to take out your phone and I want you to go to the text message app and I want you to text the word Solidarity to 58910. Next, let's hear from the workers in Minnesota who are fighting for basic workplace protections on the job. Romeo Tillman is a leader with the SEIU Local 26 Rideshare Organizing Committee. Romeo, thank you for being here.
Hey, how are you? And thank you for having me here this evening. And again, my name is Romeo Tillman, and I'm here today with the SEIU Local 26 Rideshare Driver Organizing Committee. And we're a group of rideshare drivers who have been fighting for years to improve our industry. And earlier this year, we went public with our push to update state law here in Minnesota so that rideshare drivers can finally have the right to be able to vote on whether we have a union or not. Right now, we're not even allowed to have a vote or whether we can even have a union, which we want to change. Our group is mostly consistent of Black and immigrant drivers, and we're coming together because it's time that we have a voice about working conditions, etc. I've been driving professionally myself for over 22 years, first as a truck driver, and for the last 6 years as a rideshare driver. And that's about the time I got active within the fight with the locals within the last year, I'm sorry, when I started doing the rideshare work full time. And that was because I saw how much we needed change. On Labor Day, our group was a part of the biggest protest rally, at the Minneapolis airport, where we joined other union workers and community supporters to say it's time we put workers over billionaires. A fellow driver spoke out in front of the crowd, talking about the changes we wanted to see, everything from our pay to specific issues that we're having at the airport, where we have been demanding the airport, who makes money off of our rides, put real bathrooms, prayer areas in the parking lot, etc., and improve working conditions, of course. Right now, we only have porta potties, and the Muslim drivers there have to pray in the dirt and snow. These porta potties are basically unsanitary and unsafe. It was awesome to see all the different groups out on Monday, and it was a very powerful action where we marched, rallied, and even had a band playing. We heard about the airline like Delta and how they gave millions of dollars to the Trump victory party, which kind of makes me upset and very mad. We're fighting for some of the basic things of some people that are so rich that they have millions of dollars for a party. That's not right. We all should be mad about that. And I think we should be. That's why I think we need to be doing this fight full time, 24 hours a day until we see a change. We need that energy felt Monday to be here all day, every day. But no matter how powerful we felt on Monday, we know the fight is just starting. I recently went to California myself to help the drivers there as they were pushing for union rights. So I know our fight are happening all over the country. We may be facing different employers and having different fights, but I think we're all fighting for the same thing. I'm ready to keep this fight going and hope you all are too. Thank you so much for your time. Let's do something about it.
Romeo, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go, bro. Whatever you say, let's get it. We're grateful for your leadership. We're grateful for your courage. Thank you for being here and getting us fired up and ready to fight for workers. We appreciate you. Y'all, we're going to pull up that slide with the links that Sakib referred to one more time, just to give you a second to see it and grab it as you're watching. Go ahead. It's loading up. And can we show some love for the back of house, like the tech team, the folks that are making sure the chat is good, that the questions are getting answered, that the links are being dropped in the chat, y'all. Like, it's such a team effort to make this happen. So shout out to every single person, our interpretation crew, the tech team, all the folks that are wrangling the chats. We love you. Thank you for your leadership. Okay, so you can find a billionaire near you using the incredible tool classsolidarity.org. And you can register for the Billionaire Power Grab webinar at bit.ly / or actually it's just a slash, it's not a backslash. So bit.ly/billionaire power grab. And y'all, those bit.ly links are case sensitive. So capital B, capital P, capital G, and billionaire power grab. Make sure you get those links. And again, we will make sure that you receive them with the recording if you're watching this afterward. Y'all, also, again, I want to give you another reminder that you can text the word solidarity to 58910 to stay in touch with us and get the bat signal about when it's time to do our next work together. Y'all, this stuff that we're doing, these wins that we're creating are like not just symbolic. These are things that we need to actually build the power of the working class. I'm so excited to introduce to you Maria Parker of the Union of Southern Service Workers. Shout out to USS Dub. They're building the structure for working power right here in the South. Maria, share with us how you've been building this massive and growing coalition in Atlanta, which just happens to be the home of Delta Airlines, a multi-billion-dollar corporation and a major player at MSP Airport as well.
Yeah, thank you all so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here representing the South. You know, Atlanta is home to the busiest airport in the world. The South is home to some of the most important ports in the country, like out in Charleston. We got the biggest research universities in the country, like in Durham, where 750 workers marched and rallied outside of Duke University, the Ivy League of the South, on Monday, demanding Duke stand with workers, students, and community who make the campus run, and not the billionaires who sit on their nice little board of trustees. And this is all possible because, you know, comrades out there with Durham Rising, the Durham Educators Association, Amazon Cause, the Southern Labor Youth Movement came together, circulated a petition to get Durhamites signed on to support the fight for dignified housing, dignified work, and, you know, a union life. And through that, I've built a list of people who now are taking to the streets in struggle and kind of escalating their efforts to fight back. So on Monday, they had a Duke housekeeper facing layoffs. They had a Duke bus driver facing deportation. They had a worker with Amazon Cause, childcare, agricultural, grad student union workers, including an announcement from the Duke Graduate Student Union that they ratified their very first contract week before last. So it goes to show that when labor organizes in the community around community issues, that's real power in numbers. We saw that in Western North Carolina, where 500 workers and supporters rallied in Asheville alongside a Poor People's Campaign. South Carolina, USSW and our allies and the postal workers with the labor, the dock workers coming together in Columbia and Charleston in the hundreds, joined by hundreds more in Miami, anchored by We Count, Unite Here, and then in Atlanta, another 500 who stood shoulder to shoulder at Woodruff Park to hear from Waffle House workers, UPS, Starbucks, Emory University grad student workers, housing and immigrant justice groups, all declaring in one voice, y'all, El Pueblo, Salvo, El Pueblo. Everybody knows by now, and we're trying to educate more and more each day, that we outnumber the billionaires, and we're trying to, you know, build a movement so that together we can save ourselves from their rule. And for us, it's all possible in the South by asking ourselves, what are the barriers to participation and how can we lift them together? So who needs a ride? Who's hungry? Who's nervous? And how can we collaborate in getting like every single person standing on the sidelines into the fight? I stand firmly believing that the South is the most radical place in the country, y'all. If you have the courage and the wisdom to fight for liberation here, we can win the fight for liberation anywhere. So appreciate y'all having me here, changing the South so that together we can change the nation.
Yo, it's not an opinion, it's a fundamental fact, y'all. Change the South, change the nation. All right, give it up one more time for Maria. Thank you so much for being here, Mariah. We are so grateful for you and the USS Dub family. Y'all are lit in the chat. Y'all show some love to all these incredible movement leaders who were on the ground helping lead the 1,000 events that we had across the country on Labor Day. There's so much to celebrate here, right? The great Alice Walker said, hard times require furious dancing, and y'all danced in the streets. Y'all resisted. You took militant action. You built community, and you built worker power together. Folks went on strike. Some strikes are still happening right now, right? Y'all built cultural interventions. This is incredible what we're doing. And certainly there's so much more to build, and momentum is building. And in fact, I'm so excited to bring up next the incredible Jessie Sarkey, former president of the Chicago Teachers Union. I'm wearing CTU swag today, who's going to talk to us about what Mayday Strong is up to, particularly an effort to establish regional strike and action schools across this country coming to a place near you. Jessie, tell us all about it.
Thanks, Ash, and thanks everyone for being on. Um, the folks at Mayday Strong and the Chicago Teachers Union is part of that organization. We're not some big, powerful, well-funded entity. We're really a coalition of activist organizations, including unions, that want to do something. We plan to launch a series of regional strike or solidarity schools, which I'll talk about in a minute. But we want to do that because there have been these big mobilizations, and Labor Day was one, but we're talking about hands off, May 1st, no kings, etc. And these events have been really important, and because they're a way to counter forces. They help us show our dissatisfaction with the direction of the country. But these mobilizations by themselves will not stop this administration, let alone win a better society. You know, one day, in the public square is not necessary to stop billionaires from who have a whole plan for what they want to do to our society. So what we're going to do is hold a series of regional schools because for three reasons. Number one, we want to build our coalition. Number two, we want to deepen our political analysis and alignment for the people who come. And number three, we want to plan local campaigns coming out of those meetings. And we think we need to do that in person. And we think we need to do that out in the parts of the country where people can make those local connections and do it in a meaningful way. I wish I could announce the locations and dates of these schools, but we don't know what they are yet because we're trying to make sure that we're coordinating with local organizations and not working at cross purposes with them. In some places, these conferences are going to be strike schools where unions have contract expirations and where we're going to be working to promote common good bargaining demands where we can take on billionaires through economic action and win. In other places, striking might not be on the table. But local organizations will be able to learn skills, make stronger local connections, and promote local campaigns. Maybe it's a revenue campaign, maybe there's a local ballot issue or initiative that people are taking. It's going to be up to local organizations to decide that. But what we want to do is offer Mayday Strong's help to build these events through our network, like the way that people had host kits online for hosting events. There would be curriculum materials, access to workshops and presenters, and then we would use our connection with the labor movement and other organizations to help people put together organizing committees that could build regional strike or action schools across the country. So it's really an effort that's going to require everyone. So if you're not part of an organization, please think about joining a local organization and join up with Mayday Strong, be part of our mailing list. And if you are part of an organization, we're going to put a link in the chat to a survey or a form which people have let us know so we can gauge people's interest in helping to organize these things in your locale. Look, well, I'll wrap up. We're excited by how many people came to Labor Day. We think the workers over billionaires is a key message, But ultimately, this isn't just about a narrative. It isn't just about saying the right thing. It's about building the structures, the organization that are capable of stopping the rising tide of authoritarianism, including the tool of a political strike. And we think that's what's going to be necessary to bring justice to people who've been shafted by the system. So solidarity, everyone. Hope to see you organizing. Hope to see you out in the locales as part of these regional strike and action schools. And
Hey,
Ash,
y'all.
from you. Oh, there we go.
Hey y'all, we see you asking how you find out about a strike school near you, an action school near you. Make sure you fill out the form so that we can calculate how many folks we got that are interested, and we can start to distribute that information. And make sure you pay attention to the Mayday Strong website. That link is also in the chat, and you'll be getting after this call when we send out the recording as well. Again, your reminder that the other way that you can stay in touch with us is by texting the word solidarity to 58910. And, I want to take a minute to just show some love to Jesse Sharkey and the incredible team of folks all over this country. I'm particularly fond of some of the leaders from the South that have been involved, but for all the folks that are making Mayday Strong possible. What an incredible intervention in a time where it's so desperately needed that we center our sights on building the power of the multiracial working class. I don't mean just the progressive ones, the liberal ones, the left ones, though I think we have a particular responsibility to act in this moment. But I mean all of us, every single one of us. We need to be out pushing and supporting building worker power, period. This administration is hurting all of us, regardless of what bodysuit we're in, regardless of what zip code we're in. Workers need protections, defense, they need support, and they need to be able to turn this shit over when folks extract from them in ways that are harmful and killing us. It's just not okay. When workers are being impacted by these raids like we're seeing today in Savannah, I mean, almost every day, almost everywhere, when we're seeing people being kidnapped, when we're seeing workers being hurt on the job, when we're seeing people working 3, 4, 5 jobs to make ends meet, robbing Peter to pay Paul, take care of our families and each other, y'all, it doesn't have to be like this. And I believe in a future where it is not like this because of the action and the non-cooperation and the community building and the infrastructure building and the worker power building that you all are doing today and every day. I hope that you, like me, are waking up every day and asking myself, how can I block the billionaires? How can I block this harmful, this evil administration that is trying to consolidate its wealth and power at the expense of workers? And what's one thing I can do to build worker power today? Just one faithful step. We've given you multiple things that you can do today. You can support the strikes. You can sign up, express your interest in strike and action schools. You can use the billionaire tool, the class solidarity website that Saqib shared. You could keep mobilizing with Mayday Strong. You could stay in touch with us by, again, texting solidarity to the number 58910. Y'all, it's going to take us showing up again and again and again. It's going to require us taking to the streets. Shout out to those of you that mobilized on Labor Day. Shout out to those of y'all that are already planning to mobilize for the next No Kings. Shout out to those of you that are taking your own independent action in between now and then. We see you. Thank you for calling your elected officials. Thank you for talking to your neighbors. Thank you for feeding other people's children. All the mutual aid that you're doing, everything, the political education, the training that you're taking so that you can be more active in this season. Y'all, it's going to take every single one of us. And you already heard Mariah say there's more of us than them. So if we do what we're supposed to do, create actions today with Mayday Strong focused on no kings, but also no billionaires this October 18th. We will see it done. I saw folks earlier asking questions about how do we connect all of these movement parts. Well, we can start by practicing what we preach around the desire to see that done by actually filling the leadership vacuum that we want to see done. Y'all can make No Kings and No Billionaires pop on October 18th. We're going to drop a link for you to sign up for that as well. Y'all, I am eternally grateful that you continue to show up to this virtual sacred space that we built together. I'm so grateful to see the 1,000 events that you all hosted, the many posts all across social media of what you did. And even more importantly, I'm grateful for the connection, for the solidarity that we're building across movements, across workers, across workplaces. I see you, I appreciate you, I respect you, and I want us to give free. Thank you for not regarding it robbery to be here tonight. Thank you to every single one of our incredible movement leaders. Y'all, thank you for coming and sharing your brilliance, your stories about what happened, your best practices, and some next steps, some meaningful work that we can take in such a time of trepidation. We can be grounded in the leadership that you gave us. So thank you all for being here. To the interpretation team and the tech team and everybody that's been holding down the chat and Q&A, thank y'all for being here. And again, to each and every one of you who have participated, we are grateful that you are here. Before we close it out, for those of you on the Zoom, you can see that we just launched a poll. It says, what will you do next? What is the faithful next step that you're committing to take tonight? You can tell us what you're most excited about. Is it solidarity schools? Is it the billionaire training? Is it getting back in these streets? Is it building community locally? Or is it building your union? Tell me what you're most excited about, what you're willing to do next. Is it solidarity schools? Is it the billionaire training that Sakib talked about? Is it protesting, getting back in the streets? Is it building community locally? Or is it building your union? I see some folks in the chat. Sherry Berry, I see you want to build community unity. I see Julianne said solidarity and prosperity. I see y'all. I see the love also. Thank you. Getting them gone, Dorothy. I agree. I'm ready to kick some of these people out of these seats of power. I'm with you. I'm with you. Getting back in the streets. I see you, Mandana. Getting people who have been, whose vote has been suppressed to continue to fight for their ability to participate in the democratic process. I see you. Folks are hyped about the billionaire training. Folks are hyped about the strike schools. We see you. Keep telling us. We want to make sure that we're building a program that is accessible to you. So thank you for actually participating in this poll. We'll give it like another second for folks to tell us what they're most excited about. Solidarity schools, billionaire training, taking to the streets, building community locally, building our union. Tell me what you're doing. I see y'all. Folks ready to strike. I agree with you. We got to build the infrastructure to be able to support and sustain the folks that are willing to take that risk. Absolutely. All right, y'all. We've been together for almost an hour, and yet there is more to be done. Again, we want to thank you for not regarding it robbery to be here with us tonight, to share your love and solidarity, to create a place of belonging for people who believe in prioritizing workers over billionaires. I want to thank every single one of you that turned up and showed out for Labor Day. I want to thank you for committing to not just take that one action, but continuing to be involved in the worker power building movement. So for all of the things that you're going to do between now and the next time we get to talk to each other, I am grateful. Thank you for signing up for these trainings. Thank you for sharing these links. Thank you for inviting people to join our movement. And one more time, I want you to make sure that you tell your friends, your families, all your social media buddies to text the word solidarity to 58910 and come on, get down with Mayday Strong. Y'all, I'm Ashley Woodard Henderson. It has been such a privilege to be here with y'all tonight, and we will see you on the next Mayday Strong National Mass Call. Y'all have a good night.